Hi everyone. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with the recent issues I have been having regarding an order that I placed back in, I believe it was late April, early May with Aroid Asia. They have attempted to get me this order successfully delivered 5 times now, and I'm sure that's confusing some of you who are familiar with everything that's been going on because you've only actually seen 2 unboxing videos, and no, I did not unbox some plants and not film it for you. The third and fourth time that Aroid Asia attempted to deliver these replacement plants to me, the package never actually got to me. And I'm going to explain more about what happened as we go along. But right now, this did finally get delivered today. Not without issue though, you guys, and once again I will fill you in completely as we get this open, but I want to go ahead and start getting these open because it is a little bit late in the day. We're hitting a weird time of day in here where we're going to be chasing light, so let's get into this real quick and then I'll start filling you in. So the good news is this box is in better shape than the last replacement order that actually made its way to me for that original order of these plants. It is definitely packaged very well. I'm having a hard time getting through the tape here. And I do notice that there are security checks by both countries on this one once again, but I know for a fact that the customs people who messed up the last replacement attempt that got here were not the ones involved this time. Once again, I will explain in a second. But what you might notice as well on here while I'm getting the paperwork out is that the label that they call the green and yellow label that's required when you're importing plants is not on this package. And that's what caused the biggest issue with this particular attempt to replace these plants this time. I mean, I don't know. I reached out to Aroid Asia. I was like, they said you didn't put the label on the package. And at first I thought, surely they're mistaken because Aroid Asia has never forgotten to put that label on the package. But looking at this right now, it is not there. And that is on them once again. Okay, paperwork out, perfect. I did have to pay duty fees on this, you guys, as well as that second box of dead plants that arrived, which does not make me happy. I'm gonna address that with them still as well. But let's see how things are looking in here. Okay. In general, things do not smell bad. That's always a good initial sign. We just have repeated permit paperwork in here. I can see that they did use moss again this time on the roots like they did last time, which honestly, I found that they actually did a little bit better in the kind of toilet paper-ish type wrapping that they were doing prior to that, but we'll see how these are looking. So we do not have all of the plants in this box, you guys. And the reason we do not have all of the plants in this box is because this box arrived here 3 days ago. Yes, arrived in Dallas 3 days ago. It went through Ohio like it always does, cleared customs, everything was looking good. I paid the duty fees and then it said it was on hold. So I reached out to DHL and I was like, well, why is it on hold? Well, customs reached out to me and they had found this box here in the warehouse where it arrived, and apparently they noticed that it did not have the label I was just talking about on the front of the box, and because of that, they would not release it for delivery. Now, just so you guys know, anything 12 plants or less that you are importing, you technically do not need an import permit for. Most companies will still ask you to get one just to be safe, but because you don't need an import permit, they don't need to be inspected. You don't have to have that special label on the outside of the box. If it is 12 or less, I should not run into any of these problems that I am telling you today. This actually was, well, let me double check how many it was, you guys, because I had it in my notes that it was going to be 15 plants, but I don't know. Let's see what they actually included in here. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. Okay, this says there's 15 plants in here, which doesn't track with what the customs lady told me. So we'll see as we unbox this. But basically she gave me the option of either sending her the label and then she was gonna put the label on the box, send the box to where this label says it's supposed to go, which none of my orders that they have put the label on the box have ever actually gone to that location to be inspected. but it's further south from me. Like, so the box would have had to get the label, get on there, be shipped further south, be inspected further south, come back up here again, and then get delivered. And I was like, by the time we do that, we're going to be opening dead plants again. So she gave me the other option of allowing her to destroy 2 of the plants that were inside of this box to get it to 12, which once again, I just told you how many plants are in here. So technically there should be 13 in here now. But anyways, I gave her 2 plants to take out. That's what she did. That happened yesterday. It got delivered today. So we're 3 days behind schedule, but it's still only been 8 days that these plants were in this box, which is way better than the last 2 that we opened. So let's go ahead and open. This is a varicosum, it says first. Varicosums, if you guys will recall, do not always travel the best. So if this one looks really good, then that's a good sign. Alrighty, and it is nice that obviously this customs person did not like tear everything open and not put them back together like the last order that we unboxed. So we can see here, these leaves actually look pretty good. We did lose one, but I'm feeling pretty good about this, you guys. 5th time might actually have been the charm here, because usually varicosum will drop at least 1 leaf, usually more than that in shipping, and it looks like we've only lost 1 on this plant. So that's exciting, but let's see how the roots look. I find it interesting that they wrapped toilet paper around the top of this. That's different from the last order. The last order just had the moss with the saran wrap. So they obviously are learning and trying out different things to try to keep the roots alive and looking good. But my thing is, like, I found so much I guess I can't fully compare, because that last order that we unboxed had been in that box for a long time compared to the previous one. So I can't really say that like the reason the roots were worse off was because of the moss, and the moss didn't do as well as the tissue paper stuff that they used, but I don't know. I just have a suspicion that it had something to do with it. So, all right, let's see here. So I can barely see roots. There's some on the outside of the moss. They are very dry, but that's not shocking. I mean, the ones on the inside should be more moist, but I'm kind of concerned about just in general how the roots look in terms of like rot and things like that. The other thing I don't enjoy about the moss is it's harder to get it off of the roots sometimes. And then you really kind of want to make sure that you get as much of it off as possible before you pot it up, so you don't have any kind of issues, since moss typically, well, not typically, will stay wetter longer than the Aroid mix that I put these in. Okay, we have another situation where this is technically 2 plants that did happen in the last order as well. So even though the box says it's however many it said, lots of times I'm finding that they're putting basically 2, thankfully 2, because this is a little ridiculous. It's 1 leaf, right? Into 1 package, or 1 wrapping, if you will. But this other one is nice. It's got multiple leaves, nice new growth point. We are gonna lose this leaf, so I'm just gonna go ahead and take it off. But these roots aren't looking horrible. They aren't looking fabulous either. We do have a little bit of rot, but they aren't entirely dry where they were in that moss. These actually look better right here. They're definitely a little bit whiter. Okay, so this is a good first start. You make sure I'm not seeing any pests, because we know that that has been a problem. And so speaking of pests, like I said, this is technically the 5th attempt at getting these plants to me. I'm gonna pop these into a thing of water that I have over here to get them rehydrating. So let me see, I gotta go back. So let's see what happened. Okay, so last time I talked to you guys, I was telling you that they're working with a broker now, so that the plants would always go to this same broker, and then this broker would ship them out to me, you, whoever is buying them, and then we wouldn't have to deal with having an import permit, the labels I was talking about, or anything like that. So they were shipping this the 3rd attempt after the last horrible 2nd box of death video that we did. The 3rd attempt went through the broker, but 9 days later, I filmed a video for you guys where I was explaining that to you. And after I filmed that video, I reached out and I said, hey, I still haven't heard from this broker. What's going on? Well, it turns out that when doing the photosanitary certificate, which also I don't see that in here. I'm telling you, you guys, I'm surprised this actually got here, because there's no photosanitary certificate in here. Unless it was somewhere else on the outside? Unless maybe customs took it and kept it? Maybe. I guess that could be what happened. But Somebody in Indonesia had a typo in the photosanitary certificate, so when it got to the broker, or got into the US to go to the broker, customs sent it back because the paperwork wasn't right. So that was the 4th attempt, and that's why you didn't see an unboxing of the 4th attempt, is because it never even made it to the broker. So let's go ahead and open another plant though. Ooh. Okay, I'm gonna save that one for later. This is the Choco Red that they had said they would send me that wasn't even part of the order, just to help make up for all the craziness that had gone down. Here's a Syngonium albo. Let's open this because the albos did not ship well, and hardly any of them like made it from the past orders. So let's see how this is looking. I'm gonna go ahead and cut this up this way too because it feels a little bit tight, so I don't want to accidentally rip any leaves as I'm taking that out. But yeah, so that 4th attempt went back to them. Actually, you know what, you guys? I just realized I'm telling you things totally out of order. So the 4th attempt, not the 3rd, was the one that was going to the broker that had the typo in the paperwork. I'm pretty sure I already told you guys in a previous video about the 3rd attempt. The 3rd attempt was actually one where they were just sending it to me themselves, and it went in through LA, went to Ohio, and then got sent back to LA, and then I got a call from DHL saying that customs had inspected it and the plants had pests, and that was the issue on that order. Okay, this is amazing, you guys. This is the best looking Syngonium I have opened in an order from them. There was one lost leaf. There's a new leaf coming in right here. This looks great, so let's hope that the roots also look good. But for those of you who did not get that previous update on the 3rd order, just let me fill you in real quick. So it did have pests on it. They told me at customs that I had 3 options. 1, I could have it treated for pests. 2, I could have the plants destroyed. Or 3, I could have it sent back to Aroid Asia. So I started kind of inquiring about like, okay, well, what is actually associated or involved with these options? Like, and also do I have to pay, obviously, for you to like treat the plants? But in the back of my mind, I'm like, if you're going to treat these plants, I'm sure you're not going to be like rehabbing them, putting them in water while you're treating them for pests. So odds are they would be dead when they got here anyway. But it didn't matter, you guys, because it was like $600 something to have them treated for pests. So I was like, no. So then I was like, well, just destroy them, because I figured they were going to make me pay something to ship them back. Oh, no. No, no. It doesn't cost you anything to have it shipped back to the shipper in that situation. But if you want them destroyed, it was like $200 something just for them to destroy the plants. I was like, whoever picks this option, like, just send them back. So I sent them back to Aroid Asia because of the pest. Then after that is when they started working with that broker, and then the issue with the bad paperwork happened. So here we go, you guys. You can see this is pretty nasty kind of looking here on the outside of the moss, but let's get the moss off and see how it's looking on the inside. So this time, you guys, I honestly thought they were still going to send it to me using that broker, but they didn't. And they did immediately, though, after the whole issue with the brokers, the paperwork, I guess I should say, going to the broker happened, they did immediately tell me they were going to resend the order to me and told me like what happened and everything, right? So I thought they were still going to go through the broker, but they didn't. And when I found out they weren't, I was like, well, crap, we're probably going to have all the same problems we've been having before. And nope, you guys, it is always a different problem. Every single time it has been like a different problem-ish, if you will. Okay, the roots up here that were in the moss actually look pretty good. Those are pretty white, healthy looking roots. It's just the stuff that was outside the moss pressed against the saran wrap that got really funky, which makes sense because it had like no oxygen just crammed in there against that. So I am going to need to remove that. I'm trying to decide if I want to go ahead and remove it right now because it's pretty gnarly. I don't know if I want to put this into water with other plants with that much like kind of rot on it to rehydrate. So let me grab my snips real quick. Okay, I'm just going to try to get the worst of it off of here. It does not smell too fabulous. Like I said, when I opened the box, like the box didn't smell bad, but unwrapping this one, it's kind of stinky. So I'm not going to worry about anything that's just slightly dark and probably is rotted. I just want to get the stuff that's like blacker than black kind of off of here. And then after they rehydrate for like 24 hours, then I'll do my normal thing, which is go through and remove anything that's still like obviously rotted. And they will all also at that point get my root rot treatment washed down with my mix that's 2 parts water, 1 part hydrogen peroxide. Okay. I think that's probably good enough for now. So I'm gonna pop that into some water over here. And I'm just making an ever-loving mess with this moss, but that is okay. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have a strawberry shake, and one of my complaints in the second, or I guess, I'm gonna be messing up numbers in this video, you guys, since we were up to 5. I'm sure I'm gonna mess things up, just bear with me. But we'll just say this, the second replacement order, so the second box of death that I unboxed with you guys, one of my complaints in that one was that the strawberry shakes that they sent to replace the original ones were nowhere near as big, and that really kind of ticked me off. So hopefully this is a little bit bigger, but let's find out. But so far so good, you know, considering the call, or I guess the email, I guess I should say, I got from Customs yesterday. I was really highly concerned. So at least, you know, I guess making that call to tell her to take out 2 plants and destroy them, which by the way, that didn't cost me anything. So why would it cost you so much to destroy a whole box? I don't understand, you guys. So anyways, it seems like this was probably the right call to make. All right, here we go. Once again, we haven't really lost a lot of leaves. This one down here, this little one is torn and it's gonna come off. But all in all, pretty good. This is a decent number of leaves on this strawberry shake. It is a little bit bigger. Oops, that one was also slightly broken. It is a little bit bigger than the last ones. Might still be a little bit smaller than the ones that I got before that, but all in all, not too shabby, and I'm not seeing any pests. And let's see how the roots are looking. I will say I am happy that this is shaping up better than the last 2 unboxing videos, because honestly, I did not want to have to put y'all through another one of those types of videos. It's just depressing for everyone. So at least we get to see some pretty plants that are alive, even if they do need a little extra rehabbing. Alrighty. Moss off of here. Trying to be as gentle as I can, because sometimes if you, even though this like hasn't been wrapped in the moss that long, you guys, sometimes you tug just even slightly too hard, especially since some of these roots might be a little bit dry from shipping and whatnot. You could like just break the entire like root structure off. So one of the other problems we had with the strawberry shakes and the philodendron red Andersons before was that the stems were getting rotted in shipping. Also could have just been because of how long the last 2 orders were in the box for. But this looks fairly decent. You can see though there's like been other plants cut from this along the way. We do have a nice shiny new growth point that looks like it's trying to push something right there though. So that's nice, because then it'll be 2 vines. The roots themselves, some of them look really good. Look at that. That's probably the whitest roots we've seen in a while in an unboxing video. But then we do have some rot going on pretty far along this one. But it's not too bad, so I'm not going to worry about cutting it off right now. We're just going to go ahead and pop this into some water over here. All right. I'm feeling pretty good, you guys. I mean, we've had minimal leaf loss too, so that's great. Great. In case you're wondering which plants I had them destroy, I had them destroy one of the Syngonium albos because there just were more of those than anything else. And then I also had them destroy one of the varicosums because I still have quite a few varicosums from previous orders that I haven't sold yet. I did consider having them, and this is another varicosum we're going to open right now. I did consider having them destroy one of the monstera albos because, as I told you guys, those are not really selling for me right now. And they typically come in with like completely fully rotted roots and I have to restart them in water, but I just couldn't like bring myself to do it for a plant that's that kind of high priced, if you know what I mean. Cut this one instead of trying to slide it out, because once again, it feels a little bit tight and I don't want to be responsible for tearing up some leaves. So gotta be careful that I'm not gonna accidentally cut some leaves, because I have done that once before. All right, you guys, this is a varicosum with no leaf loss on it. There's no dead leaves, look at that. That's beautiful. But let's check for pests, because the mealies were the problem in some past orders on these Okay, this is interesting, you guys. I see what they did. This is not a bad idea. They didn't really do it on that one. So the problem with varicosums is they have the fuzzy petioles, right? Hopefully you guys can see this. This is a very hairy, fuzzy petiole, and mealybugs love to hide in that hair. So I noticed this on the first one we unboxed, but I can definitely see it here. It looks like they've scraped off the fuzz in an attempt probably to make sure that there were no mealybugs, and that is not a bad idea, to be honest with you. I do see some white, I don't know if y'all be able to see it, flecks on here. They're not mealies. I'm not sure what that is. Maybe it's some residual left over from whatever they're using to do the pest treatment. I just want to make sure it's not some other type of pest, because we don't need like thrips or something like that sneaking into this household. Okay, I think it's okay. So let's just get these roots unwrapped and see how they are looking. So I'm interested to see if Aroid Asia is still going to continue to work with that broker or not. I don't know if maybe they just sent this one not through the broker because it was going to be faster for them to get it out to me, or what. But once again, they are going to be at a upcoming Texas Aroid show here in 25, I can math, 15? Yes, 15 days from now, so 2 weeks from now, they're going to be at a show along with that broker, or at least they were supposed to be. I'm assuming they still are, but if they decided they're not going to work with them, who knows. But I will be at that show, so my plan was to go talk to them and that broker in person and kind of see what's up, and I will try to film going to that show for you guys. But I think I've said this in the past, like things like that, it's kind of hit or miss sometimes as to whether they'll let you like vlog while you're there or not. All right, once again, the roots that were exposed from the moss look pretty dark. I think that's just going to be the case on all of these because once again, they're just pressed up against the saran wrap. They're not going to get a lot of oxygen. And that lack of oxygen is what typically leads to problems with roots and allows all the bacteria and things that cause rot to get in and take over. Okay, this is weird. We're definitely gonna have to restart this one just completely in water. So you can see here, previously plants have been cut off of here. You can see there was a plant cut off of here. So now we have this tiny, very unstable stem down here and you can see this part looks like it's completely dying off. There is absolutely no point in me trying to like salvage that part of it. I'm gonna go ahead and just cut that part off. And then let's see how these roots are looking that are attached to that higher part. Okay, so there is some healthy root here. There is a little bit of rot, but I'm gonna leave that so that hopefully that healthy root can help sustain what we have up here and not have a ton of leaf loss, although this leaf is torn. Yep, that one's torn, so we're gonna have to go ahead and remove that one. But that doesn't make it look too bad because it was really close to this other one. So hopefully that will be enough to sustain the foliage that is on here while new roots develop from up on some of these like higher nodes here. But let's go ahead and get this into the water. The others. Alrighty. Let's see. Ooh, here is a Syngonium army, and I can see the stem part pushing out on the bottom here. So let's see. That first albo did okay out of the Syngonium, so let's see how this army is doing. This is definitely a longer looking one than any of the other ones they have sent me. So hopefully this is going to be a beautiful, nice, full plant. And they definitely packaged some of these a little bit more tightly than normal around the leaves. All right. Okay, this one's got a little bit more leaf loss going on it, but still not as bad as what we saw in the last two unboxing videos. So I'm gonna get this one off of here. This one looks like it just got a little bit like moldy, which we did run into that a lot in the last two unboxing videos. But I'm gonna go ahead and remove that one. The rest of these leaves look pretty okay. They're a little bit just naturally deformed, so I'm not really sure. Just something to do with the growing conditions probably, but the variegation looks nice. So let's get this saran wrap off, which I'm having a more difficult time than usual trying to find the edges on the saran wrap today. Might have to just cut. Okay, I think I finally got it, you guys. Once again, ugh, super dark, nasty roots. Oh, that does have mold. I hope you guys can see that there is like fuzzy mold all along there. Let's see if we have healthy stuff inside of the moss. I'm probably going to need to get a separate container for this one because I don't want to accidentally spread anything mold or fungal to anybody else. But let's just get the moss off first if we even can. This is so tightly packed on here. I don't even know what is happening, you guys. It's like the roots are all like twisted around on each other. I don't even know where the end of it is to start to try to unravel this to get the moss off. It's like we went this way with it, maybe. Maybe not. There we go. Okay, well, this is definitely a long stem. That's why it was poking out the bottom there. The good news is there are roots coming out way up here as well. And they are healthy up at the top, but we are not looking good at the bottom. So I am definitely going to, just like I did with the elbow one we opened, I'm going to try and get some of the worst of this off of here before I put it into water. Ugh, it definitely does not smell good either, you guys. And I really do just think most of this has to do with the fact that those roots weren't inside the moss. I don't even know. I don't even know where to cut. Ugh. And some of this I could just like pull off probably. Okay, so on some of these, like this looks really dark. The main root isn't bad. It's just all the little stuff, little root pieces that are on it that are like the problem. And those are usually pretty easy just to do this. Just run your finger all the way down and they just pop off. And then after I get this rehydrated and I treat this for root rot, it'll start pretty quickly to develop new roots, little offshoot roots, secondary roots, I guess you would call, off of the primary root here, especially on a syngonium. Like I've told you guys, if the plant is actually alive and the roots aren't completely toast and the stem hasn't started to rot, syngoniums are pretty easy to bring back from the brink, if you will, or any kind of trauma. They have a pretty serious will to survive and will come back relatively quickly, even with like no foliage. Okay, I think that's good enough for now, but like I said, let me grab a different container to put this one in. All right, you guys, let me get this in here and then I'm gonna sterilize my snips and wash my hands real quick so that I'm, once again, not potentially spreading any kind of bacteria or mold or anything else that was on there to any of the other plants. So give me 1 second. Okay, I think we're good to go. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open some of the other plants. I don't even know what else in here. Let me see something else that we haven't looked at yet. We should have some monstera albos in here somewhere. Okay, here's a red Anderson and this looks a very large, like possibly even larger than the original one that I kept from them. So let's open this and see how it's doing, because those are also just like those strawberry shakes, like I said. In those past two orders, they just had, the stems just like went to mush. Like they were already kind of mushy when we unboxed them. And then when I put them into water, they like went to mush, like almost overnight. Oops, I think I just accidentally cut part of the leaf. Accidentally cut part of the leaf. Ugh, what a shame. It's just a little slit. Hopefully it'll be okay. This is a huge red Anderson, you guys. Like, oh my gosh, like, might consider selling mine and keeping this one. Just saying. But look at this. Looks beautiful. Nice and big. I might not sell mine. Mine's got, I feel like, a little bit better variegation going on it. We have lost a few leaves, not surprising, but it's minimal compared to what we've been encountering recently. See if I can easily get this saran wrap off. Of course not. I am just, you guys, I'm editing out for you how long it's taking me to get through this saran wrap. It's ridiculous. So I'll be jumping you ahead right now. Okay, so this one you can see the roots are actually for the most part all inside of the moss, so that makes me much more hopeful that there's going to be less of a rot situation going on here, but let's just see what we can find out. Okay, this actually is kind of a little bit surprising. The roots actually look really good. There's really not a ton of rot in here. They are definitely dry, but there's just not a lot of root compared to how much leaf action we have going on, which is kind of like surprising to me. But all in all, looks pretty good. Let's see. Ooh. That stem might be slightly mushy, so we'll have to see how this goes. We do have some roots coming out. It looks like they were aerial roots already out of nodes up here. If I have to, I can, and here's a good looking kind of aerial root coming here. If I have to, I can cut this lower part of older stem off and just kind of restart it in water, which won't take that long because of these other roots, but we're gonna give it a chance to rehydrate first and see how it does. So I'll put this in the water over here. Okay, so let's find something else we haven't opened yet. And then as I like to do, you guys, what I'll do is I'll just start kind of rapid fire opening the ones that are other ones we've already opened, just so we can see how all of them are looking, make sure everybody is alive. There's another varicosum. That's interesting. I'm telling you, we should be counting too. What have we, let's see here. 1, 2, 3. We've done 2 varicosums, an albo, a syngonium albo, a red understand, a strawberry shake, and a syngonium army. So we're already up to 6. So here's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There's way more than 12 plants in here. I wonder if that customs lady just said that because she wanted to cover her butt and then left all the plants in there so she would have an email chain? Or she just doesn't know how to count. If she did just like decide to leave them in there and just did that to cover her butt, I appreciate her very much. Okay, here's, we have 2 monstera albos. Once again, I don't think that's right. I think there were supposed to be more than that, but let me see what they put on here. Okay, they put 2. And see, this says there were supposed to be 3 varicosum. Technically, that first one we were at unwrapped was 2 plants, right? And the second one was just 1. So I'm gonna still have a ton of varicosum. Okay, it's fine. People actually do like them. I do find that they want larger specimens, and those are fairly decent size, so that's good because most of the ones that I have left right now are relatively immature plants still. But I'm real interested to see how these monstera albos ship because, like I said, traditionally it's been like 1 out of 10 has decent roots. Somebody is blowing me up, you guys. My alerts on my watch are going crazy. But yeah, the roots typically have not survived well on the albos. Oh, the variegation on this one's lovely. Look at that. I love more marbled variegation. I know a lot of people like the sectoral on the monstera albos. I really prefer the more marbled, or at least like this leaf where you get some marbling and some sectoral, plus it's more stable. The marbled is more stable than the sectoral. Just remember that, you guys. All right, fingers crossed the roots look good. It looks like all but a little bit of the root here actually is inside of the moss. So a little more video magic here for you, and this will magically have exposed roots. All right, so this is interesting because once again, we don't have a lot of root activity here, and this primarily looks like just aerial roots. So not sure what that's all about, but at least there's not like a ton of rot. There's a little bit of rot I'm pulling off over here, and you can see these thin filaments here is where there was rot, but look, there's roots pushing out there, new roots pushing out over here. So all in all, pretty good. Obviously this plant kept trying to grow inside of the moss, which is nice. So this shouldn't take as long for me to like rehab it. I am gonna let it stay in water longer to develop some more secondary roots before I pot it up. But all in all, this is definitely nice. I'm gonna need a bigger container than I have right now for these albos. 1 second. Okay, good to go. Paperwork is all up in my way. There we go. All right, get that in there. Make sure, I'm just checking that the stem doesn't look mushy and it looks good. So That's a good sign. I just dumped a big old bit of moss in there though. Let's get that out of there. Okay, let us see. Let me get us a little bit cleaned up here. Okay, so like I said, I'm pretty much going to kind of rapid fire open these and just show you how they're looking before we open that El Choco Red that I am so excited about and also kind of nervous about because everybody keeps telling me they ship horribly and expect it to have lost all its leaves. So we will find out shortly. We're gonna check on this second Monstera albo first. And once again, sorry if the lighting is getting a little crazy, especially I'm probably starting to come into shadow over here, but we're doing the best we can. At least we're not having to film underneath the overhead lights at 9 something at night like we did last time. Oh, you guys, the roots on this one look lovely. This is like maybe the 3rd time I've had a Monstera albo come in with roots looking this good. Now there is some rot, but that's normal. It's totally normal. I'm just gonna kind of pull it off of here, this dead black darkish stuff, but look how nice those other roots look. Oh. So I do think, well, at least based on this order, we know from the last 2, or I guess the last one, because the last one was the first one that they had done the moss on. Those roots were complete crap. We had to cut them off completely on the Monstera albos. And I only recently just potted those back up because it took that long for them to get nice new roots enough to be able to be potted up. So this is definitely an improvement. And the fact that we got 2 with decent looking roots in one shipment is fabulous. So we're just gonna add in the stem here. I know that looks brown, but it's completely calloused over. So the stem looks pretty good here. Once again, this variegation looks nice, marbled and sectoral. This is the kind of variegation that should sell better than just marbled or just sectoral. It's not always the case, but we're gonna add this one over here. Okay, and I'm gonna move on to the Syngonium albos next. Okay, you guys, I've got the next and last 3 albos open. So that means she did actually pull out an albo because there were supposed to be 5 in here. So my guess is she was going off of, I guess, Aroid Asia's list, but like I said, even that had more plants than what she said on it. And she must not have like actually counted in the box. I don't know. So because this is plant number 10 right here. Now we did lose, I think, couple leaves off here. You can see it's just like a blank stem. We got one over here. This one does have a little bit of rot, but nowhere near as bad as the first one. And once again, all the roots on these were actually inside of the moss. So that's why I think those first few had more rot than these subsequent ones that we have been seeing. So this is not that bad at all. Variegation, not too super crazy great, but it's so random on albos, you guys. Like it shifts so easily. Like you can't even go based off what it looks like right now because it will change for better or worse repeatedly throughout its life. Okay, on this one we have a bad leaf there. We have obviously lost a leaf there. These roots though, as you can see, still look good. And then if we kind of pull a little bit of the rot off of here, it's still not as bad as on that first plant. So all in all, definitely an improvement as we are going along in unboxing this. Okay, getting worried about that lighting, you guys. Hopefully it is not too bad for you. I feel like a cloud just passed over outside too, which is not going to help the situation. All right, add this in with the others. Okay, and then this last one here, variegation looks pretty good on this one. Nice number of leaves, but this has the fewest number of roots, as you can see, but they don't look bad. And none of the stems really looked bad on these either. So I'm gonna pop this somewhere. Wonder will it fit in? No, I didn't want to do that because that has the moldy stuff. So let's try and get it in with the Monstera albos over here without its leaves getting drowned. One leaf is slightly in there. It'll be okay. All right, next up, let's crack into the last Veracosum, which once again, you guys, that first Veracosum was technically 2 plants, but it was packaged as 1. So the customs lady would have just been like, okay, that's 1 Veracosum, because these obviously haven't been opened. And then we opened a second one, so this is the 3rd one. According to Aroid Asia's list, they only sent 3, and I told her to destroy a Veracosum, so she didn't destroy a Veracosum unless Aroid Asia accidentally had packed 4. I don't even know, you guys. I don't even know. But let me get this saran wrap off and the moss, and we will see how this one is looking. All right, you guys, so good news. Again, all the roots were inside of the moss and they definitely look better. And this did not lose any leaves. This one's kind of yellowing. We're definitely gonna lose that because the stem's like kind of yellow down here, but not a big deal. Definitely still looks good. Plant looks healthy. Not seeing any pests, and these roots are white. They are white and they are not dry. That is awesome. I am so happy about this. Okay, let's see if I can fit this one in here as well. Perfect. Okay, we got the 2 strawberry shakes left, and then we have the El Choco Red. Actually, you guys, I'm kind of hoping this is a mislabel. Maybe she accidentally took out the wrong plants. I don't know. Okay, so there's well, no, I think maybe Aroid Asia messed up, because it says there's supposed to be only 1 strawberry shake, and that tracks because there should have been two. Hold on. Yeah, there should have been 2 red Andersons. We've only opened 1 red Anderson, and there's 3 strawberry shakes in here. So I don't know what that's all about, but once again, this is a slightly smaller one. Not super ecstatic about that, but let me see how the roots look. Okay, guys, so I got both of these open. I mean, they're not great in terms of size. The variegation looks good. There's a nice number of leaves. This one actually has more roots than the other one, but this is all like rotted here at the bottom, and it was pressed outside of the moss against the saran wrap. So once again, that's what's happening with these. And then this one, unfortunately, it just doesn't have a ton of roots, but at least the roots look good. The stem doesn't look mushy, so hopefully these should rehab okay. Let's see. I think I need 1 more container, you guys. Hold on. Okay, we've got these good to go. So that just leaves our El Choco Red, and we are up to 16 plants in total, but 15 packages inside. So I don't know what happened with that lady. And I don't know, I mean, there's 3 strawberry shakes and there was only supposed to be 1. So I think that was an Aroid Asia mistake not to include another philodendron red Anderson, which kind of annoys me because honestly, I would rather have had extra philodendron red Andersons than strawberry shakes right now. And the main reason for that is because one of the local grocery stores that is moving into the area keeps at their grand opening selling rare plants for like $50 or less. And so they just opened another location recently, like 20 minutes from me, and had giant strawberry shakes for like 50 bucks, 55, something like that. So it's driving down what I can sell them for. And I had to buy my original ones like that I paid for, that these are replacing from Aroid Asia, I paid 65 for. So not happy about that. But let's see how this El Choco Red shipped. And I am going to cut it because since, like I said, you all kept telling me that they don't ship well, they're gonna lose all their leaves. I don't wanna risk tearing anything off that might just be slightly unstable. I'm here to tell you right now, y'all are wrong. You're wrong, wrong. Just kidding. You're not wrong. Your experience was different than mine. I can't even, you guys. It's huge. I am so happy right now. Here it is, the giant El Choco Red with beautiful leaves, except for the one oldest little one here. Yes, this one is turning yellow, but that's okay. It is the oldest leaf. It's also torn, so we're just gonna go ahead and tear it the rest of the way off, or cut it the rest of the way off. There we go. But this does not look that bad, you guys. It does, the leaves do have some damage. It looks like they just had some natural kind of damage to them to begin with. Like just a little bit dirty, whatever, but like that's not bad, you guys. That is not bad at all. Once again, I do not see pests. Let me just work my video magic here real quick to get the roots unwrapped for you, and we will look at how they look. All right, you guys, here I tell you, as excited I was about the leaves and this beautiful growth point here, the roots, a lot of them are outside the moss. You can see how dark they are, so that is a bit upsetting, but at least it still has its leaves. Let me work at getting this off real quick. Alrighty, you guys, look at how many roots, like how long this root structure is. That's lovely. All right, the stem doesn't look bad. There is old woody stem down here, but other than that, it doesn't look bad. We do have like, oh, the smell is kind of strong coming off of here. So once again, we do have a lot of rot going on where that was smushed against the saran wrap. But other than that, it's not that bad. They're just a little bit dehydrated. And once again, like, I don't know if I have something big enough to put this in. So I am going to have to find something different, but I'm going to try to remove some of this rot before I do that. So let me just set this guy over here for a second. Okay, got another big thing of water, and I'm gonna cut this off real quick. So I did want to tell you guys one other thing. So I know I had told y'all in the last video that I was gonna go pick this order up from the DHL facility here because I didn't want it sitting in a hot truck all day, and I didn't want to have to film late where the lighting is getting horrible right now. I can see it. I'm sorry, you guys, for you guys. But unfortunately, I was not able to do that because almost 2 weeks ago, I got into a car accident and my car is seriously jacked up. I honestly thought it was totaled. They came back finally yesterday and said that it is repairable. So they are going to be repairing it, but I'm not going to have it back for another like 9 days or something like that. So I didn't really have an option to go pick this up. I suppose I could have like Ubered there or something, but I don't really have the money to spend on that right now. So that's why I didn't go pick these up and I waited for it to be delivered. Honestly, you guys, I can't even, it's hard for me to differentiate what's really bad rot and not. So I'm just gonna go ahead and stick this in until they get rehydrated, and then tomorrow or the next day I will assess and remove anything that looks like rot. But I am really happy that this came in this well, you guys. And I am gonna try to make sure that I've got it in here in a way, let me see if I can show y'all. Hopefully y'all can see down in there. I'm trying to get it in here in a way to where its not, growth point is not going to be underneath the water. I don't want that to potentially rot. If I need to dump some of this water out, which I might, I will. But in my experience, putting those growth points underwater does not always go well. All right, you guys, well, I'm pleasantly surprised, and we did, I think I already said this, end up with 16 plants in total, even though the customs lady said 12, so that's nice, and hopefully they will all rehab okay. I will definitely keep you updated. The way they look, I don't think I'm technically gonna have to restart necessarily all of these in water, like definitely not all of them, but there were those few where I was like, there weren't a lot of roots. Those I might have to leave in water until they get like new roots developing, but hopefully that won't take too long. Once again, I am pretty impressed. We didn't lose more than like 2 leaves on any given plant, and it was 8 days in the box. Definitely I made the right call to have her just take 2 out versus sending it somewhere else to be inspected and come back. But the big question you might have is, am I going to continue to do business with Aroid Asia? At the current time, no. It is not reliable at this point in the large quantities that I need to order. I can, as we learned today, do 12 or less without a problem. Well, supposedly without a problem. Like, they won't have to go through inspections. I won't have that problem. But that doesn't mean that DHL won't get them held up or lose them in a warehouse for a week like before or anything like that. But the problem with ordering 12 or less at a time is I don't get free shipping. And because I don't get free shipping, that makes the cost of each plant more expensive. So it's not really going to be viable. Now, I have not been able, unfortunately, to find a different, more reliable supplier with as good of pricing, and not even just as good of pricing, honestly, with pricing that will work for me to be able to mark them up minimum like 20%, which is kind of like the bare minimum when we're talking about markups in terms of profits for plants. I can't find somebody where I can get it, do that, and have it not be too expensive for what's on the market right now, if that makes sense. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do. I might end up keeping some of these plants and turning them into stock plants, basically keeping them and growing them myself and then just propagating from them. But that's just gonna take time, and that's not gonna be conducive to what I've been trying to do. So I am gonna be going back to the drawing board this week, trying to figure out how I can adjust things for the pop-up plant shop side of things. And we'll go from there. I will definitely keep you guys updated. I'm just not 100% certain what I'm going to do yet. But I'm glad that at least today we got to unbox some beautiful alive plants together. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If so, please be sure to click that like and/or subscribe button down below. And I look forward to seeing you guys again next time. Aloha!